This lesson is going to be about simple interest. Unfortunately, money doesn't grow on trees, but we can put our money into accounts that can give us interest, and simple interest is one way that you can make your money grow. What we're going to be doing in this lesson is taking an amount of money and applying an interest rate to it and seeing how much money we can earn or how much interest we can earn on that amount of money that we have. Okay, so let's take a look at the formula that we use to find simple interest. The formula is I equals P times R times T. Interest, or I, is what you're going to make. The P stands for principal, which is the amount of money that you're going to put into an account. R is the rate or the percentage rate, such as 4% or 5%. And T is the time in years, how many years you're going to leave it in that account. So one thing that you need to understand is when you deposit money into an account, you can earn interest on this account. When you borrow money, for example, if you're buying a home or buying a car, then you're going to pay interest to the bank for using that money. The principal is actually the original amount of money that you borrow or deposit into the account. Okay, so let's look at an example. In this example, I want to find the simple interest on $300 that will have been borrowed for 3 years at an annual interest rate of 4%. Well, if you look at my formula, I equals the principal times the rate times the time. All we're going to do is plug that in to our calculator. So let's write that out. I equals the principal amount, which is 300, times the rate, which I have to change to a decimal, 2 places to the left, 0.04, times the number of years, which is 3 years. When I multiply that out, I get that the interest equals $36. So for me to borrow $300 for 3 years, it's going to cost me $36. That's the amount that I need to pay the bank. Okay, let's do another example. Let's find the simple interest on $220 at 5% for 4 years. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write down my formula, I equals PRT, and then I'll go ahead and I'll substitute numbers into my formula. I equals, well, the principal is $220, so I'm going to multiply $220 times 5%, which is 0.05 as a decimal, times 4 years. When I put those into my calculator and I multiply those out, I'm going to get $44 of simple interest over 4 years. Okay, this time we're going to actually graph the simple interest information over 4 years. And you can see on your notes that you have a table that has 4 years listed out. So we're actually going to be figuring out the simple interest for the first year, the second year, the third year, and the fourth year, and then we're going to graph it. Okay, so when I use the formula, I equals PRT, for the first year, the time is going to be 1 year. The rate's going to be 0.051, and my principal amount is $500. So when I calculate that, I'm going to get $25.50. Okay, so now I need to calculate this again, only this time for time I'm going to put 2 years in, and I'm going to get $51. I'll calculate it again, and this time for 3 years I'll get $76.50, and then for 4 years I'm going to get $102. So if I put my money into an interest-bearing account, which the rate is 5.1%, this is how much money I would make after 4 years, $102. Now I want to tell you right now that is very good interest rate, because right now all interest rates on savings types accounts is under 1%. So this is actually a very good rate. Okay, so now I'm going to graph that, and as you can tell, I've made a graph on this slide. I'm going to put my time in years along the horizontal portion of the graph, which is my x-axis, and I'm going to put on the vertical axis, which is my y-axis, my money. And I've counted off in by 25s, which is going to be pretty close to what my chart is showing me. So after the first year, I've made around $25. After the second year, I'm going to go over to year 2, and I'm going to go up to $51. After the third year, I've made $76.50, so I'm going to go a little bit above the 75 mark. And on the fourth year, I've made $102. Okay, so if you notice, as you're graphing this, you should have a pretty straight looking line that's going at a diagonal up the graph, because I'm increasing or making money each year. Okay, so that's what a graph of a simple interest loan or principal account should look like. Okay, here are your 3 got it problems. The first one is to find simple interest on $2,000 at 3.1% for 3 years. You're going to use the formula I equals PRT, and you're just going to replace P with the principal, R with the rate, and T with the time, and multiply that out. Same thing for number 2. This could be an example of a car loan. You're borrowing $20,000 at 2.9% for 5 years. Okay, how much interest are you going to pay each year? And the last one, I want you to graph. So you're going to need graph paper. I want you to use graph paper so you can graph and see the diagonal line on your graph. Okay, so you need to make a chart like we did in the last example so that you have your numbers, and then that'll make it easier for you to graph. Okay, so good luck with those got it problems, and we'll take a look at them with you when we're done.